Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent, and today we're tackling a really serious issue that affects millions of Americans, especially at retirement age. And it seems like it's a distant dream for them now because so many have to continue to work. 66 years old, a woman shared her story of working hard her entire life and now in her later years living with roommates because she hasn't been able to save enough to retire. This is the reality for so many people across the country. And today we're talking about the retirement crisis in America, why so many are forced to work until the day they die, the financial struggles that keep people from retiring, and what can be done about it. So let's get into it. Here is my royal panel. We have Joe Corley, licensed therapist, mental wellness coach, and educator. We have Constance Carter, our wealth activist, Dr. Alicia Watkins, couples coach and social work professor, and Dr. Lene, brand your brilliance coach. Hello, my royal court. So glad to see you today. This is going to be a really interesting conversation. So let's start this off with a video that we need to see where this lady is talking about her circumstances.
To be retired.
And what are you doing at 66?
I'm working my butt off.
No savings, no 401k, not even enough to cover an emergency. She sold her home and with two other women bought a smaller one, living together to save money.
How has that been?
Well, it's been a matter of life and death.
Roughly half of all Americans ages 55 to 66 have nothing saved for retirement.
That is a lot. And we all know that there is a large portion of Americans who are moving into retirement age. So this question I'm going to pose to everyone, also our viewership. We would love to hear your comments. We don't talk at you, we talk with you. So we would love to have your comments as well. So Constance, I'm going to start with you. Why do you think so many people are not able to retire comfortably?
It's sad. It's really because they're not making investments. They're not diversifying their portfolios. They're not participating in their 401ks. They're not participating in their retirement. And now you have companies that are just not participating. They're not offering these types of retirements. People aren't staying on jobs for a lifetime. You think about this. You work your whole life until you are 65 years old, right? The average age is 77. The average life expectancy is 77. So you got about 12 years. 12 years for retirement. So you got 12 years to live your best life. And you want to live your best life and live it on your own terms. And so when you have Social Security that averages about $1,800 and you have the average rent at about $1,600 to $1,700 for a one-bedroom apartment, what do you do? And it's really sad. It's disheartening, but we, especially Black people, we definitely have to prepare. You know, when America gets a cold, Black people get the flu. And so you think those stats are for the average American. What do you think it's like for African Americans?
Right. You're so on point with that. Dr. Alicia, I'm posing the same question to you. Why do you think so many people are not able to retire comfortably?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that Constance is saying. Like, some of it is a lack of discipline. I think that's what Constance was talking about. Like, we're spending money on immediate gratificating things now, and we're not thinking about planning for the future. When you start your job, assuming people start their jobs in their early 20s, are you contributing to your 401k? Are you contributing the maximum 15% of your salary to 401k? But at the same time, are we making enough money to even think about that? If I'm worried about how I'm going to eat today and paying the mortgage or the rent, I can't think about 15 years from now, and I may think about retirement. So yeah, some of it is lack of discipline, but also some of it is the fact that people just aren't making enough money because they're living paycheck to paycheck and they just don't have it in their budget to put large amounts of money aside so that they can think about retirement.
Agree. Even when you're putting away some, maybe you didn't have the good advice of someone and you didn't put away enough. And with the cost of inflation, that money just doesn't go as far as it used to. So, Dr. Lene, why do you think so many people are not able to retire comfortably?
Pensions aren't what they use. Pensions, we don't have pensions anymore. I don't think people are really thinking about what it takes to retire. I think the key word is comfortably, right? People are retiring, but I would say people who had jobs that had pension, they're doing fairly okay. But people who did not, they did not prepare. So I'm trying not to call anybody out. I'm looking at people in my life who are at the retirement age, who are struggling. They didn't have jobs that had a high income, kind of like what Dr. Alicia was saying. So they didn't have the ability to save 401k or otherwise. They were sold a hope and a dream of retirement being there and that was going to be the thing that took care of them, and it's not. They didn't have side businesses or investments or stock or real estate or anything outside of their 9 to 5, kind of like what Constance was talking about. And then also, a lot of people thought that family was going to be there to take care of them. And as people are getting older and aging, they're realizing that there isn't really anybody there to take care of you. You really can't move in with that person like they used to in the old days when you age and people would come together. That's not the case. There's a lot of seniors that are living in senior homes and things of that nature, having to survive off of $1,500 a month. So lack of preparation. And I don't even want to say lack of preparation as much as I don't think the concept of retirement and the preparation of retirement was as widely communicated as we talk about it today.
Agree. I agree with everyone's points today. These are just all things that go toward this situation. So the question goes to you now, Joe. Why do you think so many people are not able to retire comfortably?
No, I agree with what all the ladies are saying. I feel like that, right now, today, what it requires you to, what kind of money you need to retire is not what it used to be. You could probably get away with, $500,000 to 1.5 million, like in the early 2000s. And today, like, that's no money. It's way too expensive to live, to be out here on a fixed income. I think about my grandmother and how she worked for the Postal Service her entire life. And then when she retired, her lifestyle drastically changed. I mean, when she was working, her house was nice, or things were nice. She was driving a Cadillac. And then when she retired, all of that went away, like almost overnight. So I just think that the understanding of, realistically what kind of lifestyle you can live in retirement on a fixed income is not going to be the same lifestyle like you're currently living unless you're doing something drastically different than just like depending on your retirement. You have investments and things like that, and then you don't have the education necessarily for out there. People aren't going to go look for it. From what I'm learning that just being on this show, like, there's so much more information than even I knew was out there. And I'm not looking for it because I don't know it exists.
Well, everyone hit something so important, and I was going to say some of the things that what I see in real estate. A lot of the times, what you saw, Joe, is like they worked for the post office, all that worked fine, they did good, and then their lifestyle had to change after retirement. And I know a lot of seniors who did put away and really thought they enough, and now they've had to get little jobs like at Walmart or something that's on the side just to supplement anything that they brought in. And most of the teachers that I know have a good understanding of, and some of them still have pensions during this age. But we are definitely seeing that the cost of living and everything is going up, yet what you're bringing in is just not enough. It's not enough. So we're going to go to commercial and we will be back.
Hey, Friday. If you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens, that's Queens, that's Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, so simple. Make sure that you pull out your little assistant here. This thing does everything. This thing absolutely does everything. All you need to do is text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. And you will get a notification of us going live every day. I get mine every day. I'm on the show, and I know when we're going live. So, you don't want to miss out, because we definitely are talking about good topics, and especially today when we're tackling something that touches everyone. You may not be thinking about it now, but I can guarantee you that it's touching someone in your life today. Now, I want us to look at a couple of slides that we have, because I found them very interesting. Cost of retirement. 59% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved for retirement, according to a 2020 survey by Go Banking Rates. 40% of Americans are not confident that they will ever be able to retire, according to a 2022 survey by Employee Benefit Research Institute. The average retirement saving for people aged 65 to 74 is just under $300,000. But studies show that most retirees will at least $1 million to retire. Wow, that's hard to swallow. The cost of retirement. 1 in 4 retirees reports working in retirement because they don't have enough money saved up, according to the Bureau of Statistics. And 47% of workers in the U.S. have no retirement savings, and many rely on Social Security. Only replaces about 40% of pre-retirement income. That is saying quite a bit. This is what we are facing in our world. This is what we are facing in America. So I'm going to pose a question to the panel again, and it's going to be a question across the board, but also for you, viewership. I would actually love to know what you are doing to prepare for retirement. Are you doing anything at all? I'm going to start with you, Joe. Have you started preparing for retirement?
This is a tough question for me. So, obviously, not to rehash, but I had to fight a legal battle. So most of my retirement money went to that, a good chunk of it, So I'm having to start over at 44 years old, basically trying to figure out how to get back what I lost. And I'm looking for the education. I'm trying to learn and understand. But prior to that, yeah, sure, we had, all types of retirement accounts and things of that nature, getting ready, me and my wife preparing for the day we can sit down. But now that looks different for us. So.
And it can change. That's the thing. You may have prepared earlier, and then like you had something come up, and then there you go. You have to start all over again. So it's not that people are being lackadaisical or are not planning. You can't plan for life sometimes. I mean, you just can't. You never know when life is going to come back and smack you upside the head. Constance, what are you doing for retirement? Are you planning?
Yeah, my kids is my retirement. Them Negroes going to take care of their mom. No, I'm just kidding. But looking at those statistics, wow. I didn't get the chance to see because I was doing something else before we got on. But wow, people are just drastically underprepared. And America we're going down the toilet. This was supposed to be the greatest nation on earth. And you have those types of statistics. Anyway, sorry, I was just processing all of this because this is just, it's sad. And think about that. And that wasn't even for Black people, right? That was for everybody. So just to think what those statistics are for Black people. But I have several things. I own real estate. I invest my portfolio. It's, I try to diversify. I have money in different things. I invest in different businesses. I invest in, I have a cannabis dispensary. I have money going into, I took a good chunk of my money out the bank and I have it into a vehicle that generates compound interest, because Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who know about it, they earn from it. Those who don't, they pay it, right? So your credit cards, that's compound interest. But if you can put your money in vehicles that generate compounded interest, which accelerates in growth, then you're going to get a greater return on your investment, and it'll help you during your retirement. So, but having a diverse portfolio is extremely important, and that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why the wealth gap is so wide, is because Black people, when we do invest, we're not investing in anything other than our primary homes, which could or could not be an investment, right? We got to start getting in stock and, get on Boyce's stuff and do all the other things to make sure you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a common misconception that people have, that put it all in the stock market. No, but there's so many other ways that you could diversify, even with $5 a day. I mean, we see a lot of B1 in our comments. Understand this concept. So Dr. Lene, what are you doing toward your retirement?
Well, the very, 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 very first thing I did towards my retirement was withdrew my 401k. I took $50,000 and started my business. That was the first thing that I did towards my retirement. And then I lost it all when I started my business. But I have since rebuilt it, right? I've been in the process of reading this book. It's not on my desk, called Profit First. And so recently I just went and did the 5 bank accounts, and I have this whole retirement thing set up. And so I've moved a lot of my retirement money over into there, but also diversifying, like Constance said, stock. I'm getting into real estate. We are doing, my company is getting ready to do a 401k for my team. So I'm actually about to bring that into my actual business. My mom is a financial whiz. And so how she's putting her retirement together with her 401k and all of her stuff, and I'm looking at how she's doing it. And she is going to make about $30,000 less a year in retirement than what she makes working. How she put her stuff together, like how she orchestrated. So she already makes multiple 6 figures. And when she retires, she will make the same in retirement. She'll make $30,000 less a year in retirement than she makes right now working her job. So wow. I'm looking at her model too. Like, what did you do and how did you do it? Because I'm looking to retire in 12 years. In 12 years at 60, I want to be done. I want to be done with this part of my life. At 60, I just want to travel the world and teach. And I was going to say teach and preach, but mostly just teach and do. I want a soft life at 60. So I'm already like, what does that look like? $1 million is not enough. That's what I know.
Yeah. So and that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
they're saying like that's the average. No,
I don't want to sit on my hands. I want money to still be being made. So I'm creating businesses that will operate for themselves when I retire.
Yeah. And like they're just saying 1 million today, but going to account for 12 years from now, right? So the things you always constantly have to look at your portfolio to make sure that it's still going to be an overage for when you do retire, something that you're going to be able to live comfortably with. How about you, Dr. Alicia? How are you preparing for retirement?
Let me tell you, I'm very fortunate that I have always lived below my means. And that's a fortunate thing to say. I live well below my means. Even when my whole life, I was told, I was given messages that a vehicle is just something that you buy to get you from point A to point B, so it's not like I never felt like I needed to spend a lot of money on material things, and that money, you just spend enough money to take care of your necessary expenses. And then the rest of that you save. So I maxed out my 401k always. And I struggled, especially early on, starting off living in Chicago, working. I really knew, maybe it was just the culture of which I was raised. I don't really know why I was just so big on investing so much money in my retirement. And so that was just something that was instilled in me. I do want to say, Joe and Lene, thank you so much for self-disclosing. your struggles, because it is a wonderful illustration about what happens to a lot of us, that we're one tragedy, one illness, one legal issue away from even doing the right thing, and certain things that can happen to us that can set us back. So I really love the vulnerability of you, Joe, for talking about that, and then also saying, you know what, it was a tragic thing, an illness or a law issue that set you back, but your positivity and how you discuss it, and even currently, is very inspiring. Also, you, Dr. Lene, you talked about how you lost money starting your business, but you didn't lose the lesson. It sounds like you have learned so much from that, and that although you lost $50,000, you have this lesson, and you're doing some really wonderful things right now in your business. So I think that the two of you sharing was extremely inspiring, especially for people who are listening to this and freaking out mentally and getting stressed out about feeling as if they don't have enough. And then no matter how old you are, it's never too late to start investing. So,
and that is something that I think is admirable, in the fact that if you don't talk to people about your life journey, you can't help someone. And the fact that we do that here on the show is important. I will share the fact that no one talked about this in my house growing up. Retirement, what? My mother worked until she had a heart attack and died. So there was no retirement. It wasn't until much later in my life that I learned that you had to do this thing, like mid-30s, before I got really serious about investing. So a lot of us just weren't taught about it in our homes. And I think that's something that we can say today, that you have the opportunity to change in your households by at least teaching your children what they need to do to take care of their financial households too. Don't be afraid to talk to your kids. Don't be afraid to, don't be the one that says, what goes on in this house, financial, stay in this house, financial, and then you don't teach them what that means. So we have a lot more conversation to go. I think some more of the stats that we have later are going to it's not, as long as we're talking about them, we can also give solutions. So we'll be right back after this commercial.
If you want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
FlyNubianMoney.com. What do you think we're talking about right now? This is where you can get the ABCs 1, 2, 3s. All you have to do is go to NubianMoney.com. We have plenty of resources there. If you confused, this topic scares you, but because money scares people, but we are talking about how you can secure and have an easier time of it if you start now. So if you get your understanding now, you can plan better. So make sure that you go to flynubianmoney.com to get your initial set of instructions and start learning what you need to do to protect your financial house. Now, there are many different ways that we can see things changing for retirement. We've got the housing crisis. We have student loan debts. We have all sorts of things that are swirling around, the discussion about getting rid of Social Security. So how do we look at these things to get a solution for our own household? Because when we start depending on others, that's where our first downfall is. So I'm going to start with you, Constance, with this question. What role does the housing crisis play in the inability to retire?
Well, it plays a huge role. You see inflation going up, you see housing prices going up, but you don't see income going up at all. That's a problem. And so people are not living based upon their check. They're living check to check, and they're using their credit cards to survive. So then they get into this insurmountable debt, and then it becomes this snowball effect. And so all of those things are factors. You have the housing crisis. Yeah, you got interest rates. So you got the houses going up and you got the interest rates going up. So the houses aren't even going down. So imagine when the interest rates go down, the housing prices are going to go up even more because the interest rates didn't even curb the market in a lot of areas. So you got the house prices go up, you got the interest rates going up, you got inflation. I was just talking to my kids this morning, and we were talking about my son's car. And I've either had a hybrid or a electric vehicle, but I put gas in my son's car when I was in California, and it was like $108. I haven't really had to worry about gas in a very, very long time. $108 to put gas in a car to fill up a tank is crazy. So it's all of these things that we got to do on a daily basis. When they talk about the cost of eggs, the cost of groceries, I got 3 big head grown ass boys that eat me out of a house and home. I'm going to the grocery store 2 to 3 times a week. I'm not spending no less than $150 to $200 every time I go. And then they come up in there talking about ain't no food up in the house because y'all Negroes eat it up. So it's a lot, and a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are struggling, and it's unfortunate. But that's where we are in America. I don't know what they're gonna do to help though. The government, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's all up in the air. And then currently we have people being put into places in the administration, not to get political, but you have to. You've got people who are being put into positions who they don't know anything about. Ben Carson knew jack shit about the housing market, and the person who's going in now knows jack shit about the housing market. So when you have this mentality of let other people help us out, no, baby, they don't even know what they're doing neither. All they're doing is making sure they take it care of in their wallet. But Dr. Lene, there was a comment that said, what's wrong with working into old age? And I want to bring that in. You said your mother is doing very well about her planning, but is working something that she still wants to do in her retirement?
No. So she's going to take a break. She'll be, I think, 66, 67. She's going to take a break. This is her second retirement. So she retired once, and then she wanted to do some different things. Some different life stuff happened. So she went back, she went back. She's like, I want another check. So she's in public work. So she went back to work to get another retirement check. So she just had to work for, I think, like 7 years. And then that gave her another check. And so that's how she's been able to go into retirement and almost get paid the same as her working. But she'll be retiring at the end of this year, I believe. And I think she'll be 66, 67, something like that. But there's nothing wrong with working into your old age if you're doing something that you love, right? I look at Dr. George Fraser. That man will hop on a plane and travel to speak, to teach. He loves what he does. If you love what you do, why not do it to the day you die? Cicely Tyson, right? She did it to the day she died. There's work that needs to get done that people love that you can do until the day that you die. It's the labor of work that frustrates people, that people don't want to do, right? You don't want to have to work to pay your bills to the day you die. That's different than finding a profession that you enjoy, setting yourself up financially, and doing a work that you love. The work that I do is not a job. The work that I do is not even work. I enjoy what I do. I show up and I do it every day, and I do it with a smile on my face. It's pleasant. When I say I'm going to retire at 60, I'm going to retire from the hustle of the work that I do. But that is because I have planned to be financially set up. I plan to have X amount of $1 million in retirement. Like, the world and the life that I plan for myself in retirement says I can be done at 60 so that I can go and enjoy different fruits of my labor. I can go and volunteer. I can go and sponsor. I can go and be a philanthropist. I can go and do these other things, but I'm enjoying my life until I die. So I think we don't have to be afraid of working until the day we die. I think it's what type of work we're doing, how we're financially set up, how we've thought about retirement and what that looks like for us. And if you are in your 40s, like I'm 48, you still have time to prepare. You can get a side hustle. You can start a business. You can do real estate. You can invest. There's still ways to retire decently well right now so that you don't have to work until your 80s or 90s or whenever you plan on, going to meet your maker.
I agree. And you hit it right, because you know what? I have aunties that are retired, and baby, they're happy that they're retired, but they also don't want to sit home twiddling their thumbs. So they go out and they do extra things. They have little extra jobs just because they want to be around people. They want to feel like they're active. They still enjoy that. But the difference is They do not have to if they don't want to. And there is a huge difference for that. So we have a couple more slides I do want to discuss because we're diving in deep. And I think it's really important for us to understand these numbers because they are mind blowing. The median retirement savings. The median retirement savings for Black families is $23,000 compared to, get ready to hold your seats, $150,000 for white families, according to the Economic Policy Institute. Retirement account access. Only 36% of Black workers have access to employer-sponsored retirement plans, compared to 54% of white workers. And Social Security dependency, this is a hot topic, y'all, and it's already been thrown out back and forth. About 45% of Black retirees rely on Social Security for 90% or more of their income during retirement, compared to 30% of white retirees. That is absolutely staggering. A 2022 survey by TIAA found that 56% of Black Americans feel they lack access to financial literacy resources, which hinders their ability to effectively save for retirement. And Black Americans aged 65 and older are 3 times more likely to live in poverty during retirement compared to their white counterparts. Y'all, these numbers are really staggering. Dr. Alicia, is working until you die a reality for everyone in America?
I want to say something about Social Security because as a social worker, this is so very important to what we are cause. Those numbers about Black people and Social Security, and the idea of working till you die is a reality because Social Security, a lot of African Americans disproportionately rely on Social Security for retirement, and we know it's not enough to live off of. So people are going to have to supplement their income until they die, so to speak. So, the issue with Social Security is that, I don't know if y'all know, there's 3 legs of retirement. There's Social Security, there's employment issued retirements, and then there's your individual portfolios that you can have, individual stocks or, mutual funds or whatever that you can pay into. And Social Security is the most reliable leg of retirement. We learned this in graduate school. And the thing with Social Security is that it's a social program, but you get out what you get in. It's a pay in out system. And I don't know if you all remember, but there was this idea of making Social Security a lockbox so that individuals who pay into Social Security can be guaranteed that they can get out of. What we also know for African Americans in particular, we pay more into Social Security than we actually withdraw from Social Security because we don't live as long. Number 2, we talk about migrant workers and all of these issues that we kind of dump on an entire group of people, but people don't know that they pay into Social Security, but they never are able to draw out of it. So there's no reason why we should not have enough money to pay out for Social Security. And I think we need to look at politics of that and start really paying attention to that, because Social Security is what lifted a lot of older adults out of poverty. It's something that we need to really think about as Black people to try to strengthen that with government, whoever is in charge. We need to really work to examine those things really closely.
And that's the point. We need to examine those. We need to stop putting our heads in the sand. A lot of the times, I have to say, when people try to talk about money, people want to put their heads in the sand and they don't want to discuss it. It's one of those, what is those 5 or 6 what they call sin things you don't talk about with other people, money and sex and all this other things they don't want to talk about, want to hear it. They do the three monkey thing, they hear, see no evil. So Lawrence Lamar said, I really think America only has 2 more years before everything in the system changes. BlackRock and the robots will take over. Now, I'm going to throw this in a cogwheel because we do see that there is a lot of AI that is coming in. And we also know for a fact that BlackRock is definitely stepping into places like creating communities, complete communities with beautiful homes. Gorgeous homes. They not for sale, baby. You cannot buy them. They're only for rent. So I'm going to ask you, Joe, that this is something that we are really facing that's going to be a problem toward our retirements.
You talking to me, Lala?
Yes.
You broke up. What'd you say?
with BlackRock and AI and all these things, the world is changing aspect of money and what we can own and things of that nature. Do you think this is a real the crisis that we are facing with these new tools?
I don't think the crisis changes no matter. Whatever happens. We're always on to something new or doing something different. I think the problem is going to be what it's always been, is that people are dependent upon a government that doesn't care about them. And I'm not talking about just black. I don't think it cares about anybody. And I think, there's some people involved in government that are hateful and, and racist and whatnot. But I think even more than that, over racism is the probability of keeping your foot on black people's necks. So understanding that, and then we're talking about a culture, you can judge it. I saw a quote one day, something about judging a culture by how it treats its elderly. We don't take care of our old people, So now the AI is coming in, right? Before that, it was something else, it's always going to be something new. The technological advances are always going to occur, but we still have the same age-old problem from the 1600s. We just don't have a government that gives a shit about us. And if we're dependent upon that, going back to some of the stuff Lene was saying, you working a job until you're old, but you're at the mercy of that job. You're always going to be at the mercy of that job. And I'm not criticizing anybody for doing something they love until the day that they die. And like you said earlier, Lala, you're one tragedy away from that being taken away from you at any moment. So are you prepared? Do you know what exactly you want? Because that is going to determine how prepared you are for the future, not any changes in society or changes in government or any technology advances. None of that is going to matter if you have no idea how you want to spend the rest of your life and what it is that you are going to need in order to do that, or how you're going to support yourself for the rest of your life. That's what you need to be focused on, not what's happening outside.
Right. I agree. You do have to pay attention to you. You got to start with yourself. That I often say that on this show. Everything that we do, it starts with yourself. You can't depend on others to do any changes or anything. You have to change yourself. Why do you think many people underestimate how much they need to retire comfortably?
Because you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this economy is so dynamic, and it goes up and down and up and down. Who knows? But I'm sitting here listening, and I'm looking at those slides. And if you can run them slides real quick. So the median savings for Black families is $23,000 compared to $150,000 for white families, which still is not enough for either, but $23,000. I mean, that's just less than. And so when I look at that, only 36% of Black workers have access to employee-sponsored retirement plans. And then we still don't participate when we do because we just don't know the importance of it. And about 45% of Black retirees rely on Social Security for 90% or more of their income during retirement. That's huge. So, as I'm sitting here listening to this, I'm I'm staring off into space because this is disheartening. Information is disheartening, especially for Black people, especially for somebody who loves Black people, right? And so then I automatically go into solution mode. Okay, what do we do? And this is the reason why how we have these discussions is so important. It's important that we have people like Dr. Joe and Dr. Alicia, because we need therapy. Black folks need therapy. It's important that we have people like you, Lala, in real estate, because we need to be investing in real estate. It's important that we have you, Dr. Lene, because we need to learn how to be brilliant and build our brilliant businesses. Like, this is all extremely necessary. Everybody on here is necessary. So my hopes is that you're not just listening to this. We're going to talk about solutions, and hopefully, Black people, you actually take action to change the narrative, because these statistics are very grim, and I don't know if you really understand the gravity of what we're seeing here, and it's only getting worse if we don't take advantage. When you talked about AI, instead of being afraid of AI, we definitely got to take advantage of it and utilize it for our wealth.
That's right. Tap in. Tap in. There's ways to tap into everything. They can do it. So can we. So you just have to tap in where you know that there is a point, there's a lull that you can fill. Your excellence can fill. Don't be afraid of technology. Learn to embrace it and make it work for you. But we still are continuing this very important conversation, but we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and review so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
We got magic. We do magic. We help you up yourself in your financial house, and we also can help you with your business. Sometimes you spread yourself too thin. You can't do it all. You're working 24/7. Sometimes if you just learn to delegate or you take something off of your plate, it can help you grow when you focus on what's more important for you, the tasks that you need to be doing. So in order to do that, all you have to do is email us at info@realvirtual.net. Let me spell it, info@realvirtual.net. Let us help you. Let us help you up your game. Now, listen, we have another video that I want us to watch because this conversation is really, really good. So let's watch that video.
Hey guys, so I was hearing, of course, on TikTok, because that's where we get our news from anyway, right? Somebody was saying how they heard that Congress wants to raise retirement up to 75. 75, y'all? Let me tell you, there's no way. They already told us that they're going to cut Social Security. So what are we working for? I will be retiring in 10 years, if not sooner. I will not be working to pay their salary, because that's pretty much what we would be doing if we worked until 75. They need to down the retirement age back to 55. But yeah, they must think that American people are crazy, because what would make them think that we're going to work until we're 75 years old? Yeah, granted, there are people that are doing that now, but we all don't want to do that.
Yeah, we all don't want to do that. So we see that our older generation, and I don't say that lightly, because I'm telling you, the new 50 is you could be 70 and you in the 50s. Like we have changed a lot of things in our lifestyles, but they are facing this. So what do you think is a good retirement age to aim for, Dr. Lene?
I literally just asked that question. I don't know. 75, I think is too old, but 55, I think is too young. So when I was heard that, I was like, 55 is too young to retire. 75 is too old. So maybe like 60, 60, 65. I think what they have it at right now is a good age. I feel like 60, 65 is a good retirement age. You still got a nice 20 years to relax, kick back, enjoy your grandkids, travel the world, still be in good health. 55, like, if I'm being honest, just based on how we live, in your 20s, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Your 30s, you're trying to figure it out. Your 40s, you're implementing. Like, you're actually putting in the work in your 40s. You can't turn around and be done at 55. You still need the 40s and the 50s to kind of grind it out. 65, hang up your cleats and be done with it. But that's what I think. What y'all think? Like, I'm interested to see how other people feel about retirement.
I'll be 55 next month. So I think that's a little too early for me. I think a good age for me would be 60, 62. That I think that's a personal call. But here's one thing that I do know. When I am on the ships, when I am out on the seas and doing my little thing, singing on the ships, I see people who are elderly and finally enjoying their lives, but they can't because they're so, maybe their bodies weren't they used to be, and that they don't even get to enjoy the whole thing. So I don't want to be at a point in my life where my body is breaking down, where I can't enjoy my retirement. So I think that depends on a lot of different things, but I think 62 is a really good age. Dr. Alicia, I noticed you said that it's set in stone.
Yeah, there. Back when I was studying this in school, there's a grid. I don't know if anyone can find this, but the legal age of retirement, we've known this a long time, is always going to increase because quality of life and people live longer. They're projecting that people are living longer and the quality of life is more enhanced. So that's why the legal age of retirement increases. I mean, of course, depending on your financial situation, you can retire whenever you see fit. But in terms of legal age of retirement, where somehow you can draw down retirement benefits without taking a penalty, those things it's a government number that's set. And so I knew a long time ago that the age of retirement was going to shift because there's a chart out there, somewhere out there. I'm sure someone in internet land can find that. And I do want to say something that some of you guys said earlier about elder abuse. Let me tell you, I found in my practice, elder financial abuse, you'd be so surprised how common this is. It's like, sometimes older adults don't have that contact with individuals like they need to, and they feel somewhat very vulnerable, and so it leaves them vulnerable not only to exploitation but also financial exploitation. So I've seen this a lot of times in my practice about how adult children can take care of their parents and take advantage of them financially. So I've seen that in a lot of my practice and just working as a social worker for decades on decades. And it's really terrible because some of the older adults their cognition, sometimes declines, dementia, Alzheimer's, and that puts them at risk to experience, they have to lean on other people to make financial decisions for them. And sometimes it's not really the best and they can take from them. So I just wanted to make that point there about
That's a thing, major thing. Yeah. Those numbers are pretty high about elder abuse, and especially those who take advantage of what they have financially. We had some really great answers from our viewers. We had 62, 65, 67. So it seems like it's all falling into the 60s and not so much where the lady in the video said 55. So Joe, I want to ask you this. We've talked about our older generation, but how can we get ahead on retirement savings?
You blanked out just a second. Every time it's somebody, you said, how do younger generation get ahead on retirement savings? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I think it has a lot to do with education. I don't mean like traditional education. I mean like understanding, what money is and what money does. Like I said, I'm 44 and I've learned more about finances and money in the past 2 years, and I've learned my entire life. So like this education system that we have right now is not designed for us to take care of ourselves. It's designed for us to take care of this country, and the country in return does not take care of us. So what we need to do is take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we need to encourage the younger generation to understand real, true economics and not the falsehoods that's been jammed into us over generations and generations about what it looks like. You know, you work a job and if you work a job until you're 65 and you hang it up, you give you a watch, and if you don't do that, you're lazy or you're not a good person. You know what I mean? So like that, it's just insanity. So we have to do better about getting young people into community programs that teach them about financial literacy. You know, I really think that's a huge step towards getting the next generation not to repeat the same mistakes that we did. Now, it's not about having a fancy car. It's not about having a house you can't afford with a bunch of furniture you don't need and all the other things that, you know, you've been taught that matter. It's just about what is your destination? How do you want to finish this thing out? And this is how you're going to get there. So.
Well, that brings us to a really good slide that we have prepared for you that talks about wealth gap. The racial wealth gap plays a significant role, with the median wealth for Black households at $24,100 compared to $189,100 for white households, and that's according to the Federal Reserve 2020. This directly affects the ability to save for retirement. If you have to work so hard just to get your bills paid, and it's really hard to even think about putting money away because you need to feed your family, then we have to go back to actually, what is the wealth gap? What are we getting paid? Why is there such a disparaging big gap between that? But that also brings me to another question. Constance, should the government increase Social Security benefits to account for inflation?
Sorry about that. Yes, of course, for cost of living. And it's supposed to be according to the cost of living, but it's not, because as I said, your average Social Security benefit is $1,800 a month. And your average rent is $1,600 to $1,800 a month. And how you going to get food? How you going to get groceries? How you going to get gas? How you going to get your clothes clean? How you going to pay for your utilities? How you going to do all the rest of that stuff if you only getting $1,800? And for Social Security, there is a certain amount that is being put in a bank, just like you said, Dr. Alicia, a lockbox, but it's supposed to be put into an account. I'm paying this, but they are borrowing this money and they're using it for wars and everything else. And so we don't have enough money. All the money that we're putting, this is like us putting away a savings account for ourselves for when we retire. And we go to the savings and it ain't there because the federal government is mishandling the money. That is the real problem. And so, yes, there should be an increase in Social Security. Absolutely. But going back is about what we have to do, because those statistics that you put on that slide were very drab. It was depressing, almost $24,000. Like, who living on $24,000 where? And how is that the average across the nation? I just can't even fathom that. On average, Black folks are really making $24,000 on average. Of course, you know, that's average, but that's pretty discouraging. And so financial literacy, I mean, if they're not teaching it in your schools, you got the freaking internet. You got more information in the palm of your hands than when they put the man on the moon. You can Google that shit. GTS it. Anything that you want to know is out there. And if not, get a mentor or get a coach, get somebody. But it's imperative that you take initiative, that you are very intentional about your learning about the things that are necessary, that are going to grow you, and not put you in that position where you're at the mercy of the government.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, what have I been saying? You can't depend on others to do it for you. Every time you do that, you're going to be disappointed. You need to start with yourself. And that is a great point for us to take this commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Constance Carter. Where am I? I am on a yacht in the Baltimore Harbor, and I am doing my 7-figure strategic planning solo, baby. I plan on having a 7-figure year. I partnered with the Fly Nubian Money, and we are putting together a training that's going to help you to put together your 6 and 7-figure ecosystem. Yes, there are things that you need to do, strategies you need to put in place so that you can implement and have a 6 to 7-figure year if you don't already have one. If you got a 6-figure year, let's go ahead and get you a 7-figure one. If you got a 5-figure year, let's get you a 6-figure. Let's get you there. Join me, the Fly Nubian Money Club, and let's grow your money in 2025.
Man,
That's the
Constance,
reason why.
I'm not even gonna step on nothing that you're doing. You tell us what you're doing this weekend.
Well, no, but the very topic that we're talking about is the very reason that we need to have these conversations. And this is a free conversation that we getting ready to have on this upcoming Saturday about this very thing. I'm actually talking about, you know, the where we are, where we're going, but how can we curb that? How can we close the wealth gap? How can we change the trajectory of our lives and we start living at least a 6-figure lifestyle, if not a 7? But the topic today, this is why that's so important. But y'all getting a free training. So everybody on here is 400 people on this watching us live right now, and hopefully a few thousand more that's gonna watch it later. Everybody need to be up on that training on Saturday.
And guys, it's a free trial period right now. Not only are you going to get all the awesome stuff from Constance, and she's got so much for you. I also did a class a few weeks ago, so you're going to be able to rewatch that. You get double. And this is going to help you. So don't miss out. Go ahead, get on into that free trial. And all you need to do is sign up at flynubianmoneyclub.com. Don't miss out. Don't be the one who's saying, I wish I would have saved for retirement. Don't be the one that sits back and looks and says, I don't have enough money to get through this month. We can help you now if you start now. So make sure you sign up today, flynubianmoneyclub.com. Well, that concludes what our topic is today, although we probably can talk about this for the rest of the week. But I would like to call for final thoughts and where we can find you. We'll start with you, Dr. Alicia.
Awesome. Hey, yeah, I mean, I love that we're talking about this topic, and I hope that we continue this conversation. Also, I think one other point I may have wanted to make was that, you know, sometimes it's hard for us. For Black people, we have a healthy cultural paranoia when it comes to financial institutions and relying on advisors. It's a healthy thing because of the history of Black people in money and economics. We have trusted institutions and corporations to help us out, and we find that there's some elements of racism and white supremacy there. So, you know, with all of that in mind, I think that relying on these financial institutions and advisors, I think, you know, developing relationships with people that we trust. And I think that's why it's so important. I love what Constance is talking about, and everything on Fly Nubian Money is that hopefully we can be trusted source of information and avenues of which to understand the unique struggles that Black people are facing. If you want to work with me, you can contact me at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Follow me on Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
You got your homework assignment. She made it very easy. You want to make sure that you go to her website, check out all of her resources, because I always tell everybody you got to stock and chicken talk, every last one of us. We got some good stuff for you. Joe, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Cool. Listen, in the words of Tony, it's whatever you want. That's what you got to go. You know, you got to judge every move you make based on whatever you want. As a therapist, I constantly deal in reality. I'm always having to push reality in people's faces. How old are you? Okay. What is the destination that you want to get to when you finally get a chance to sit down? Do you want to sit down? You know, are you able to sit down? Do you want to work for somebody for the rest of your life and accept the risk of that? And that's a cool thing too. Or do you want to step off the porch and try to conduct your own business and, you know, take things into your own hands a little bit? all of those things come into play. Whatever you want, then you can determine how much sacrifice is going to take for you to get whatever you want. And then you can make changes, the necessary changes in order to improve your life or secure your life for the future. And hear me say it over and over again. If you're not changing it, you are choosing it. You can't look for anybody to come help. And if they do help, that's a great thing. That's a bonus. That's a plus. But typically nobody's coming to help. So you're going to have to make decisions that advance your life and secure your life and secure your future. And to start talking about making those things happen for yourself, you can reach me at realuconsulting.com or follow me on all socials. My name is Joe Corley, and I am here for you.
All you got to do is just say, hey, Joe. And go ahead and get your appointment with him at realuconsulting.com. Make sure that you also follow him on social media. Constance, what are your final thoughts? And where can
hold on, Lala. I'm sorry. Tierra gonna kill me. We're going on tonight. Again, Tuesday night. Vulnerability is a new sexy. Please join me tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. We're just gonna be talking about things to adjust for the new year, understanding resolutions and what it's looking like for people out there. So come join me tonight. Sorry to interrupt.
Mark your calendars. Go ahead, get your dinner, get your popcorn if that's what your dinner time is, and sit down and watch. Okay, that's your assignment. Okay, Constance, now it's your turn, ma'am.
I just want to say that this conversation really got me in my feelings. Just looking at those statistics and seeing where we are. I mean, of course, this is my life's work, right? But as a person who is in the field and a person that loves Black people and I want to see us do better and always thinking of ways that, that we can combat what's been put in front of us. We know the reasons why. We know about all of the systemic issues and the trauma that we faced as Black people. But at this point, we could either be part of the problem or be a part of the solution. And so what is the solution? We have to start having conversations with our families about finances. We got to start learning more about finances. We have to start investing our money in other things. You can pick up your phone and get an Acorns account and then start just putting just change. Acorns, just change, and then it'll start investing in the stock market for you. For the people who are not really familiar with stock, and it'll be money that you don't even miss. I save $30,000 a year just in Acorns, just in investing my change. Like there's things that you can really do to just put away something, to do something to move the needle. It's not about making a huge change. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so it's those little things, the little wins that we can do, the little things that we can do to create a snowball effect, to create a change and transformation in our lives. That's what I want, but we have to be intentional about the change. And this is the reason why these conversations are so uberly important for us Black people, because we got to change the dynamic of where we're going. The $24,000 yearly net worth for Black people is crazy. I don't know who's living on that. You spending that on gas a year, let alone what can you really buy with $24,000 a year? So I just want us just to be intentional about talking about financial literacy, getting on our devices and learning about financial literacy, and then coming together and taking whatever training that's free, Google University, everything. There's so much information out there that there's no reason why we should still be in the same situation that we've been in the past. There's no reason. They didn't fucked around and gave us the internet, y'all. There's no reason. But where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter. I work with Black women to help them to build wealth. I have a new book coming out with the Net 7 Collective. It's called Unbreakable, and it's a collection of stories of survival, success, and sisterhood, where we are talking about our stories and how we've been able to stand on our stories to create power and generational wealth for ourselves and our families. And the new Net 7 Collective is coming up at the end of the month. So if you are a Black woman or a Black woman, have them hit me up. Go to bookwithconstance.com.
She gave you all the assignments. I hope you wrote them all down, because she is one busy lady. Okay. She is one busy queen. But here's the thing. She is willing to share this information with you. So you don't have to say you don't have someone to help you get the resources that you need to get yourself leveled up. Dr. Lene, now what are your final thoughts and where can we find you?
I'm going to be quick and simple. And I'm going to say, if you're struggling in your life today, you're going to be struggling in your retirement tomorrow. That's the simple truth of the matter. If you are not living the quality of life that you want to right now, where you are capable and able to work, it is going to be twice as hard, twice as rough for you, maybe 3 times when you retire. So right now is the time to get your ducks in a row. The statistics on having access to financial literacy, that is it's a farce, because the financial literacy is out there. As a community, we spend our money bad. We spend our money wrong. And then when life happens and we end up in retirement, we're like, what happened? What happened is you didn't get prepared. So we need to get prepared right here, right now, today. There's too much, like Constance was saying, we have access to too much technology, to too much information, to too much knowledge. You might not be able to get inside of somebody's classroom, but there's Google, there's YouTube, there's so much information around financial literacy. You can invest in something. She was talking about acorns, real estate, stocks, somebody else's business. Start a side hustle. Start a business that's just for your retirement. It doesn't have to replace your income, but maybe it makes $20,000 a year, $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year, something that you can add to your Social Security. We have the ability to make sure that we retire well. We can live better in retirement than we live right now if we take the time to put ourselves into a position to do that. So that's my charge. When we see numbers like that, $24,000, that's with people working. So what is it gonna look like when people retire? Like, that's sad. That hurts my heart. So get yourself together, start a business. It doesn't have to be a business. It could be anything. It could be real estate. It could be acorns. It could be stocks. It could be just do something. Do something. Okay. I'm Dr. Lene Javette. You can find me at I am Dr. Lene Javette right there. Boop, boop, boop. That's it. That's all I got for today.
Do something. That's right. But she even got a little point hand. So you don't really need to know anything other than that point hand is going to direct you to where you need to be. All right. So here's my thing. You're always going to hear me say this. You need to start somewhere, and that somewhere is with you. If we have said something today that has struck a chord with you, maybe it made you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you were like, this is not something we want to talk about. Then we have hit the right chord for you to play. That means that is something that you have to look at in your life. We've hit that pain point. Let us help you get to the right place. And you do have to look at things, whether they look pretty or not. So face them. Face the monster in the mirror, because you can conquer that. And you can find me and all of my free resources at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. And I have a lot of resources there for you, and even a goal setting chart for you. So go there and go ahead and download that. We've given you all great resources to level up. All right. So we have had such a wonderful conversation today, a good conversation. And it's an important reminder to just how crucial it is to plan ahead for your future. The retirement crisis is real, and the numbers don't lie. Millions of Americans are facing a future where they'll have to work far beyond the age they expected. It's vital to start thinking about retirement as early as possible and make adjustments to our financial habits if we want a future of freedom and security. Let's keep the conversation going. What steps are you taking to ensure that you can retire when the time comes? Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all of you. We know that some of you are here every single day, and we love you. We know that you could be doing something else. You could be somewhere else, but you chose to take the time to spend with us today and to level up your thinking. So until tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, thanks for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.